Retirement planning isn't about the dollars. It's the drawer of mystery papers. It is the house full of memory. It's the logistics that no one can put on a balance sheet. And so today we're diving into that part of the story, the life's logistics. And my guest today is Amy Call from Spiro Transitions. And she is going to share practical ways to turn the messy middle of life into calm, clarity, and progress. And so welcome to Paladin Financial Talk. I'm your host, Nikki Foley. And here at Paladin, we help people build plans for their money and the moments that matter. It's not just about the money. So because retirement readiness is more than numbers, it's about preparing for transitions. It's about preparing for all those practical application things that come along with it. Here we are today, and I'm so excited about today's conversation that really hits on that real life side of things. And so my guest is Amy Call, founder and president of Spiro Transitions. It's a Twin Cities-based company that helps families bring calm and structure to life's big transitions, like downsizing, like loss, like aging, major moves, all of those things. Sometimes you need a partner. And so Amy, I'm so glad to have you here today.
Thanks so much, Nikki. It's really great to be here. And I'm really excited to talk about navigating life's transitions.
Well, this is fantastic. I know that I feel like this is one that I could just hit you with questions over and over and over. So I'm going to try to get this.
I can talk about transitions for a long time.
All right. Well, we're going to have some fun here. And Amy has shared that she has been doing this for 11 years. And so I know she is full of stories that she can share with us. And so we're going to get right into it. So Spiro's mission is really beautiful. It's about bringing a plan and a partner to life's transition. So you help organize, coordinate, guide families through messy in-between moments with trust and courage and authenticity. And so let's talk about this. So just tell us your story and how did you get here and how did Spiro come to be?
Yeah, you bet. So, Spiro was launched out of my own personal life transition. I have a background in consulting and small business and also a little bit in nonprofit. But 11 years ago, our youngest joined our family through adoption. And though we had been in that adoption process for a really long time, we didn't know the age of our child, the gender of our child, or when that child would be joining our family. So we had been in the process for 3 years, but then all of a sudden one day it was go time. And we got a call and we had to be in a different state that day. And so I spent about a month in that state and left my other kids back here in Minnesota with my husband. And we didn't have any baby items because we didn't know what age and gender we would have the child that would join our family. I also instantaneously had to step away from work because we got that call on the same day we had to leave. And we had big financial situations that are necessary to happen immediately with adoption. And this is something we had really been waiting for, it turned our world upside down in an instant. And it was overwhelming to our whole family. During that time, though, people really came around us and really supported us and met our needs in ways that we just never anticipated or expected. And it was unbelievable. And after that month, and I came home with our daughter, I really wanted to take some time to bond with her. And so I stepped away from my work at that time. And it wasn't long after stepping away from my work that I decided I wanted to look into what I was going to do next. Yeah. And that is when the idea for Spiro launched. The experience that we had of people coming around us in a time that was so uncertain and so overwhelming and instantaneous, I wanted to provide that opportunity for others going through those big life changes. And so Spiro launched shortly after that. And now, whether navigating transitions of family or also we work with businesses through growth and change, Spiro exists to bring a plan and partner to life's messier moments.
Oh, I love it. So during that moment when you were describing that, I got the chills first, then I teared up, and then you do start thinking about those moments where, unfortunately, I've had loss in my family, but how amazing the community is that comes around you and how you just soften so much and so thankful for that type of an environment and how it allows you to somewhat push through some of that. And so, well, I'm super excited to hear more about Sparrow. And can you tell me about the name or how that came to be? Because I feel like that's unique.
So, yeah, actually, we did not start as Sparrow. We started as From Here to Organized. And eventually, we needed to change From Here to Organized because people thought about what we did only from the perspective of organization, coming in and organizing their closets. And that's not what we do. We do so much more than that. It's so much broader. We do have a small part of our business that will do that, but we also bring a plan and process to walking alongside people through hard estate topics and so forth. So 5 years in, we rebranded, and Sparrow is Latin, and it means to hope, to believe, to trust, which aligns completely with the values of who we are and how we operate. And it was a perfect fit for us.
Oh, it's so good. It all ties together really seamlessly as you start to tell your story and what it stands for. So let's talk about this. How do you help people move through this phase? Bring this to life a little bit.
You bet. So we look at transition through William Bridges' model of transition. And William Bridges was an international speaker, author, and organizational consultant. And he breaks transition down into 3 phases that make so much sense, and also bring clarity to the experience that we go through when we're navigating transition. So the first phase of transition that we often experience is the endings phase. And endings is when a transition happens and we're moving away from what has always been and what was. During that time, we often experience grief and denial and anger and fear. Until then we move into the neutral zone. And the neutral zone is where we start to realize that there's something new that needs to happen. We are starting to let go of what was and trying to figure out what needs to be. During that time, though, we may feel confused, disoriented, or uncertain until eventually we move into new beginnings. And new beginnings is exactly what it says. When we've moved into the next phase where we've figured out what's next and we feel that freedom, excitement, optimism, renewed energy. And what's really cool about William Bridges' model is that it applies to transition, whether it's family transitions, personal transitions, or business transitions.
Oh, my brain is just going over here. First of all, I love that there's a model. And I told you that when we were emailing back and forth, like it brings so much clarity when you can come back to something that creates some order to what might be going through the crazy in your head. And, I think about, I think I told you this, but I lost my brother earlier this year. And so, you think about that. Well, then you think about all kinds of other areas that it can start applying to. And what we do is, oftentimes around retirement. And so, oh my gosh, applies right back to whether you're talking about grieving, retirement. It probably doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And what I love about the transitions model as well is it gives us an understanding of some of those feelings we might be experiencing in those phases and helps us understand that that's normal and that's real.
And I like that it gives me somewhere that I know there's another phase coming and I will get there at some point. And that's optimism in itself, that there is something to go to.
Absolutely.
On the other side. So, I because we deal with retirement every day and I, have the lens of financial, I'll have to tell you a quick story. I was at the gym and sometimes you do icebreakers with people. And one of them was, everybody had to go around the room and I can't remember what it was, but tell something that's going on in their life or something like that. And one of the gals said, I'm going to retire here in January. I'm super excited. I'm going through the process of preparing. And, 2 gals later, she's like, oh my gosh, can we get together? I'm starting to think about it. And it's this overwhelming experience. And for me, I don't, because we are living it, we get to go through that over and over and over with our clients. I don't think of it the same way as somebody else that's going through it for the first time and the only time, probably.
Absolutely.
And so being able to help people bring the calm and the happy and all the fun things that's supposed to be happening out of a transition or a positive transition, has to, sometimes you just take somebody from the outside, like your organization, to help move, or to have a professional help move through that. And so there's so many characteristics about life decisions, and it's not just one thing. And so it's fun to hear you say it's a model. It applies in lots of different areas. And so whatever the situation is, it's going to come back to the same concept.
Most of the time, we move through those stages.
So tell me, I keep interjecting myself in here with loss of my brother, or, hearing of friends that are going to retire, but tell me stories that you've had so people can understand.
Yeah. So I'll share two different stories that are great examples of us walking through transition with some clients. So these are two differing perspectives. My first story is of my very first client 11 years ago. When we met, she had lost her single sister-in-law, her husband, and both of her in-laws, and she took on all of theirs. It was a lot. She was extremely overwhelmed and just beyond herself and going through grief. And she was also from a very high-achieving family, very successful, but she was frozen. She could not take the steps she needed to take because that grief was so overwhelming to her. When we met, she had been stuffing mail, legal issues, estate issues, financial issues from all of those estates into paper bags for I don't know what period of time, but quite some time, to the point that there were 25 to 30 paper grocery bags full of things that needed to be addressed. And she felt a lot of shame around that because she was from a high achieving background. And the first thing that we do when we sit down with our clients, because so many people do feel that confusion and shame, is that we assure people this is normal. This is not uncommon to feel frozen when we're in these states of transition. And there's no shame in working with us. And so we needed to come up with a plan. How were we going to tackle this? First, we took those 25 to 30 bags and we went through every piece of paper in there because she did have interwoven junk and some really important things that needed to get done. And so we sorted out what's garbage and what's recycling, from what needs immediate attention to what needs attention, but we can do it later. Then we needed to come up with a plan. So we put together an action plan of how to tackle those things that needed attention, and those topics that were immediate or overdue, we needed to tackle first. And we also then came alongside her in hard legal conversations, wealth management, estate attorney, just to be there and help her navigate that. And eventually, over the course of our work together, it was absolutely incredible to watch her go from a state of extreme overwhelm and frozen into finding so much freedom that she launched her own grief group for other widows.
So good.
And then here's another example. So we worked with a set of adult siblings who contacted us because their mom needed to move into memory care. One sibling lived out of state, another one had a busy career, and they needed help researching career options, talking to their estate attorney, engaging an elder law attorney, and also researching places that their mom could go next. We navigated each step alongside them, and until the house was sold and their mom was moving into memory care. That was a really hard and challenging process for them, but very helpful in having somebody to come alongside them and getting them efficiently into a place where their mom was cared for, because they had some financial concerns that they needed to take care of immediately. And so while that was very hard, we moved through it efficiently, and their mom ended up in a place where she was cared for well.
I love these stories. It's the same mix of emotions and logistics that characterize either situation, and probably lots of situations. And so it's funny how high performing, never been there, that how important it is to have somebody bring clarity to you and so you can see through the clutter.
Absolutely. We tell ourselves we're supposed to be able to do this. We should know what to do, but we don't know how to do all the things, or sometimes we just can't because of the situation we're facing.
Yeah, absolutely. So you gave us some good foresight. Now, if you have more to add to this, that's great. If you don't, no problem. But so what are some of the first things that you tackle when you are helping a family through a major transition?
Yep. So for the first things we help people tackle. So we, when people come to us, they're usually in a state of endings or in the neutral zone somewhere, and there's a lot of emotions. And so, like I said before, the first thing we do is explain to people that there is no shame in where they're at. And then we offer a free consult. So we sit down with people coming to us first, and we have a conversation around what are their goals? What are their obstacles in reaching those goals? And what are some of the timelines or deadlines that are being required of them, estate-wise, financial planning-wise, et cetera, that they need to hit. Then we share with them a little bit about how we can come alongside them, things that we can do to help them. And if they decide to work with us, then we put together an action plan. How are we going to tackle those things, meet the deadlines in an efficient way, but in a way that also honors where they're at emotionally in their grief process or in their emotional process. And that sets the stage for our work together.
I just keep applying this back to me. Maybe I needed this more than I realized because of everything we're still going through with my brother. I just think what a game changer as you start to, yes, I know I need to do this. Yes, I know that I have a deadline. Yes, I know the end of the year is coming, but it is like, maybe it's the action plan. It's probably different for everybody, what they need to pull from you. But the fact that you have a very specific plan and process that you work through, you see where people are getting stuck. It's really, really quite impressive to see this.
Thank you. The other thing is that there's the action plan, but I think there's also just having that encouragement and accountability and someone to say you can do it.
Yeah.
Because when we're in those hard places, sometimes we tell ourselves we can't do it, or it's too much, or it's too hard. And sometimes we just need somebody to come alongside us and say, let's do it together. Let's link arms and you can get through this.
Yeah. I have a colleague that I know that I remember her telling me when her mom passed away, she took off almost a year from working like full time. I'm sure she was still working in some capacity. And I had lost my mom, and it didn't register. Like my mom, we knew for almost 6 years she was going to pass away. And then when I lost my brother, it was sudden and didn't get it in one element. Another scenario like my brother, yes, like it's different for everybody.
Absolutely.
In every scenario, and you don't know how you're going to show up emotionally and whether you're paralyzed or not paralyzed to take action. And so I do believe that having somebody there that's an outsider's perspective is really pretty powerful. And you just, the delays in some of these things, like you talked about in your first story, it can be a big deal, and it really can slow down key pieces of things along the way.
Yeah.
So, fantastic in everything that you're sharing here. So anything else that you want to share, or any other stories along the way? Because this is helping me. I already know, like just sitting here listening as I'm like, oh yeah, that's me, or oh, I can apply that. So anything else before we get a little bit more into the kind of the infrastructure and takeaways and some of the things?
I'll share one more quick story about a widowed woman who was older, and her husband had paid all the bills and navigated their technology and all of that. Now that she's living on her own, and she has to pay the bills and log into the accounts, figure out where those passwords are. And for her, that was overwhelming and something she did not know how to do. We determined that for her, a home management binder would be a great idea.
Okay.
And in that home management binder, We put an organized password list, a list of her accounts and her account numbers, instructions for how to access those accounts. And then we also had a section for her to take notes when she talked to any service providers, because she would engage in conversations that she needed to have action items on, and then ask for our help, but not really remember those conversations. And so those notes were very helpful in follow-up, where then we could discuss those conversations and figure out what needed to happen next. She also wanted a daily routine schedule, because for her, grief made it so that she had a hard time moving through her day, and just having a schedule in that binder to help her follow gave her a little structure to keep her moving.
Oh my gosh, I love that. It's so tangible. Like you
So
can
tangible.
see, you can see that binder right in front of her. So, okay, let's do some rapid fire takeaways about
Yep.
what we've talked about. Your stories have been absolutely amazing. But for listeners who want to start this right away, what are 3 quick wins that they could have?
3 quick wins. So this might sound really simple to you, but in transition, these things don't always feel so simple. Number 1, be patient with yourself. Transition's hard. And number 2, make a list, but don't only make a list, prioritize. Take those things that are heaviest and most weighty on you and put those at the top, because when we get those done first, it's amazing how we can move through everything else much more freely. Yeah. Then number 3, 1 step at a time. We don't need to take care of everything at once. Taking small steps forward continues to move us through the process.
Those are good. Those are some powerful ones. And I can associate with a few things you just said there. So, okay, on the flip side, how would I know if it's, red flag time, time to pull in somebody like yourself?
If you're stuck and you just don't have the energy, capacity, or brain space to move forward, it's absolutely okay. But that's when it might be time to ask for help.
Yeah, those are some pretty classic signals that I'm thinking about myself as we talk about this. So for someone who's listening, and maybe myself, this all sounds amazing. So maybe I need this. What does this actually look like when working with you, and bring that to life as well?
As I mentioned earlier, first we start with that 1 hour consult. And then if someone decides to work with us, there's multiple ways that we can do that, based on the goals and needs of the person.
Okay.
So we can work with people short term, just focused on a very specific project, such as researching senior living homes, organizing rooms, or navigating a project from an estate attorney, wealth management advisor, or something of that nature. Or we can work with people on an ongoing basis, and that might look like once a week getting together or once a month. That might include something like navigating or opening mail together and looking what needs to be dealt with, and we can help deal with that. Or meeting and helping navigate action items that haven't been accomplished. Regardless, there are a variety of ways we can work together. And the important thing that we always want our clients to know is that the ball is in their court. This is driven by them based on their needs, and they always have the choice and autonomy.
Well, this has, I think, probably opened people's eyes that might just not know something like this exists. And I got to think just kind of practically here, you start to go through your list as you're thinking, and you're like, well, who can help me? Well, maybe other family members, or maybe it's, somebody that it's more on the emotional side of things. I need to hire a grief person, but it's the practical things that you need to get done that you wake up in the middle of the night thinking about, or it doesn't allow you to go to sleep in the first place. Prioritizing, moving those off your list. I mean, I'd love to hear you talk about how you meet people exactly where they're at. You probably hear the same stories from people and how they're maneuvering and they're showing up about these things. And so those small steps, and sometimes bigger steps, and getting them out of the way are probably creating major shifts for people. And this has been a powerful conversation. It's such a good reminder that getting organized just isn't about the stuff, but it's about the emotional piece as well.
It's hugely about the emotional piece.
Well, tell us how people can get in touch with you, and give us, all the contact information. We'll put it in our show notes so that we make sure that they can visually see it as well. But bring this to life.
So if you want to get in contact with us, you can go to our website at www.sparrowtransitions.com. You can reach out to us on our contact page, or you can also schedule a time for a consult by clicking the button, schedule a call, I believe. And before
we have viewers looking at us through the window as we record this. That can be distracting along the way.
So sorry.
Nope. Okay. So Amy, tell us again how people can get in touch with you.
You bet. So if you want to get in touch with us, go to our website at www.sparrowtransitions.com. And you can reach out to us from our contact page, or you can also schedule a time to meet with us by clicking the button, schedule a call.
Fantastic. Well, I know this is something that, like I said, we'll put this in the show notes. So if you're used to looking at our site or looking at our social media, certainly follow along. We'll make sure that you know how to get in touch with Amy and her team, and making sure that whether we touched on something that was familiar to you and the story she told, or whether it's something that's going through your mind, the consultation that she's offered us, it may be worthwhile, hitting that button, scheduling that call. But we absolutely appreciate the stories that you've given us today, the clarity that you've brought along the way. And if you're ready to connect with Amy, reach out to her. Like I said, she gave us her information. We'll have it in the show notes. Or if you're ready to connect on a financial side of things, we're absolutely available to help on that side as well. So same concept. We'd love to do a 15-minute conversation with you to see if you need to take the next steps from a financial perspective. And thanks again, Amy. We really appreciate your time today. And thanks for listening to Paladin Financial Talk.